Hey guys, it's Devin and I am back with another book review. So this is a little bit different than my last one. I have just finished Where the Crawdads Sing by Delilah Owens, and I have a lot to say about this book. Now, in this review I want to give very critically honest feedback about this book. I want to, educate you a little about what this book is about. I want to share my personal experience with why I chose to read this book and finish it, and who I recommend it for, and all that good stuff. All right, so I want to start out by sharing a little bit about my reading process over the years. I have normally been drawn to educational books and, nonfiction, self-help, spirituality, that kind of thing. Obviously with my work with Human Design and the Gene Keys, that's usually where I go. But I also love novels, and I've been trying to feed that side of me that really wants to get lost in a good story. Now, when it comes to novels, this is usually my trip. If it doesn't keep me grabbed and I don't love it completely, I stop reading it. I either put it down and I maybe pick it up again at another time, or I give it to somebody else, or I give it to a used bookstore, that kind of thing. So this is an interesting review because it is my first time that I pushed through reading a book that I didn't love the whole time. So, by saying this, I want to be honest, I know this is a very beloved book. There are raving reviews by like a million people. So I'm kind of on the other side where I didn't fall in love with this book. There were things I really enjoyed about this book. I don't not recommend reading it because it may be amazing for you. So I'll share a little bit about that, but I want to share something different because I didn't expect to not love this book. And I want to say why I didn't love this book, and I want to be kind of honest about book reviews because it was so weird for me. Like normally I finish a book and I'm like, wow, like I don't remember the last time I finished a book that I didn't give a 5-star review for, or want to share with people, And with this one it's different though, because I want to talk to people about what happens. Like I want to tell people I didn't like it because I feel uncomfortable, because I feel let down with it. And I also want to put this into context of, I had really high expectations for this book. Now I've seen it all over the place, like for a while, like when I would go to Barnes & Noble, things like that. It was recommended on all sorts of book clubs and all the things. When you go on to look at reviews, they're like raving, and this is how I found it. So this has been on my radar for a while. I really kind of trusted it as a book to get lost in. A few months back, I wandered into the used bookstore here in Ubud, Bali, and found it brand new on the shelf for a couple bucks. So I snagged it without even thinking about it, and I just trusted with the reviews, unforgettable, a rare achievement, vivid and original, which are all very true, by the way, that this would be a very trustworthy book to get lost in and to be nourished by. Now, I will say that this is an unforgettable book. I will not forget some of the things that I got out of this book, probably for a while, and I'm still brewing on it a little bit because I just finished it like a few days ago. Now, I feel like I didn't get the kind of satisfaction and the kind of hope that I wanted out of this book. And the reason I feel uncomfortable is because the book had the potential, and so did the author. It's not a bad book. I just feel like it was kind of a cluster of like a couple different genres that didn't really fit and didn't really give you what you need. So I want to talk about like what this book is. Okay. Also, I want to say that I would love to do spoiler videos and talk about the concepts in this book and other books for people that have read it. So if you're down for like spoiler videos, if you've read this book, or if you're never gonna read the book and you want to hear about some of the concepts and my opinion about it, then let me know in the comments, because I think that'd be fun too. So I'm gonna try my hardest not to spoil anything. I'm new at this stuff, guys, so I'm sorry if I'm just gonna say I'm not going to. All right, so very beautiful book. Very like, here's the thing about this book is that everything in it are things that I love. So what is this book about? It's about this girl named Kaya, and it's a coming of age story, meaning it goes through her life and development. So it's about this girl that is abandoned very young, and she grows up in the marshes in North Carolina, fends for herself in the marsh, and grows up, you know, very much, in some senses, isolated and with a very strong abandonment wound. Now, the author was a nature writer, and the nature in this is great. So if you love being kind of swept into the intricacies and connection with nature, that is a very beautiful part of the book. Now, along with the nature side of it, there's also a murder case, a murder mystery. So this book is like two different, completely different genres smacked into one book, and I don't feel like either one of those areas soared the way that it could have because of it. So I felt it was a bit mismatched in that sense, because for me, I love murder mysteries. Like, give me a psychological thriller, I finish that shit in a day. Like, I am all about that. I love thinking. I have trained analyst mind. I love to get into the psychology and the heart of things. I love it. And when I started reading novels and trying to challenge myself to finish them, usually I went toward, you know, some kind of psychological thing, a thriller, you know, murder mysteries. I love that stuff. I love it. So, and that was where I really got my first gratification of like really being able to complete books and do it quickly. Now, so I thought that this book had the whole freaking package, you know? I am down with all of the kind of issues, thought process, character developments, like it in a lot of ways, and I'll spoil it if I talk about some of the other things in the book. So that's for another video if you want to hear about it. I am all about this stuff. I am a rooter for these things, the concepts in the book. I write about a lot of these concepts in my own process, obviously not murder, but like the key concepts in this book. So I wanted to love it, and I'm pissed that I didn't love it. I didn't unlike it, but I was left with this kind of feeling that, like, what just happened? And like, I understand why people love this book. That's the funny thing. I'm like, I get it. Like, I get why people love this book, but I didn't love this book. And it's weird because like, I don't want to talk about books that I don't like, but I also think it's really important to also really kind of critically review this kind of stuff. Now, basically this is set with the coming of age of the main character, Kaya, and then also simultaneously there's two time frames with a murder case that's going on, like, you know, years ahead, and then eventually they, you know, it kind of all comes together. Now, good idea. Good idea. Could have been, I don't know why I'm frustrated with this book. Well, actually, I do know why. I do know why because I love murder mysteries, and this one felt so kind of like placidly boring, and the way that I left it was just like, okay, this book had so much potential, all right? The main character had so much potential. The murder mystery had so much potential, and I feel like it did not soar. Like it was almost as if I was waiting for a breakthrough in the book that like never came. It was just like, oh, it's there, and it never came. And like, I'm all about those freaking breakthroughs and like soaring through and breaking patterns and like things really shifting. And I felt like I was really let down about that with the character. And I feel like, you know, and I will also context this by saying that some of the nature elements, like I did feel educated with it. There was a beauty to this book, and I almost feel like this book would have been better if there wasn't a murder mystery in it. Like, that's kind of what I came to. I'm like, why is this bothering me so much? And it was like, this could have been a epically beautiful, touching story if you took out the kind of clusterfuck of the other side that didn't really fit. It could have fit, but I feel like it didn't really kind of like nail it totally in a way that I felt really satisfied with completing this book. Now, I read it quite quickly. I read it in 2 sittings and in 2 days. And I felt a bit frustrated because it was almost as if I was like just like trying to get to that place where all the reviews said like, where's the breakthrough? Where's the like, ah! And it just like, I left just going like, I just finished that book and I feel weird because it had potential. And yeah, so I know that there's a lot of people that love this book, and you guys might hate me if I say I don't love it. Whatever, I don't really care. And you know, maybe like years from now I'll be like, oh, that's why I was so frustrated with that book, you know, whatever. I don't really care. But I think it's like that thing of like hype, and then you read it and you're like, okay, I was like really expecting and trusting that this was going to be this, and it wasn't that, at least in my perspective. Now, there was very touching aspects of this book that I'll probably remember for a long time, and it's not worth reading. So if you feel a call to this book, I would not say don't read it, because there's a lot of gold in this book. I just feel like overall as a whole, it didn't like wrap together and like in a way where it could have. It's almost as if it's like, I feel like a coach or something that like sees potential and is like, oh my God, you actually really are a great writer. Oh my God, these characters like, oh my God, this could have been like the epic of the epicness, but it wasn't. And I feel like the symbolism of the nature at one point is gorgeous, and then at another point when I was reading through, I wanted to skip through the paintings of nature and the poems and all the things. Now, which is hard for me, and I feel frustrated about this book because I love all the aspects of this book, you know? Like the coming of age, the nature, the connection to that, you know, mystery, all these things. Like I love that stuff, you know, trying to figure it all out. And I feel like it really kind of, yeah, kind of let me down a little bit. So, in the symbolism of that, the reason I have a critical review of this is I feel like this could have soared. This book could have soared firepower in like the birds in the book. But I feel like it just started to rise and it didn't really jump off and soar into that kind of grand, like, satisfying, you know, it's like that, the character in the book, it was like, I just, so, there's a lot more I could say about that. I think I'm going to leave it at that because I don't really want to spoil anything. But if you would like to chat with me more about some of these concepts or kind of going gritty into the details of it, and you've already read it, or whatever you want a spoiler video, write in the comments, and would love to do that to share a little bit more about this book. So I just wanted to do something new. I have such a respect for writers, and I have such a respect for you know, good books, that I never want to critically review things because I just want to love everything, or to, you know, go, well, I didn't really love it, but like, let me think about all the reasons I did so that I can be part of all the hype and things. But I'm not going to do that because I've done that most of my life. So I'm just going to say, didn't love this book. Could have been a lot better. Delilah Owens, you have so much potential, and I'm rooting for you in your next book that it is better, because I know this was her first novel. So lots of respect. Beautiful book in a lot of ways. There's things that will definitely stick with me, but overall, and it's weird because I don't even know, like on Goodreads, I'm like, what do I even star this? Like, I don't even know. Like, I have to think about that if I want to be really honest. Normally I'm just like 5 star, 5 star, 5 star, you know? So anyway, that wasn't the case with this book. So I hope you're enjoying my book reviews and wanted to challenge myself to not only finish a book that I wasn't totally in love with, but give it an honest review and put it out there. And if you would like me to do more book reviews or go into deeper aspects, I would love to hear from you guys. If you have book recommendations, things like that, thoughts, please leave them in the comments. My website, all that good stuff is all in the description. And I am sending you guys a lot of love. And thanks so much for tuning in today. See you next time.